Hello and welcome to another Imperator video. It's been quite some time since I've actually made one of these because for a year now, Imperator Rome has been dead. It has been dead. If we have a look at the actual announcement that we got 1 year ago, from here we got denote saying that because of shakeups at Paradox, and they're going to Paradox Red Studio and Yellow Studio or Gold Studio or whatever the hell they were doing. Imperator wasn't linked to any of them. They were stopping development for honestly pretty decent reasons. The player base just wasn't there. But they were ceasing development. There was no immediate plans for any future content. All of the team members on Imperator were shifted to other projects, and including Arheo, who went to Hearts of Iron, of course. A few went to Stellaris. I don't believe any went to Victoria 3, but I don't know the full extent of the team that was working on Imperator. So yeah, it was just, Imperator basically died on that day. The problem is the Paradox didn't really want to admit that Imperator died on that day. We see here we have confidence that Imperator will continue to grow towards the vision we had created for it. It's just not true. It really just isn't true. They wanted to, or they claim that they wanted to continue development on Imperator at a later date, and honestly, I just kind of don't believe that this is true. And well, this is from a year ago. This is from one whole ass year ago. Lots of talk on the forums here, and yeah, it was dead. And then there was basically radio silence for a long time. Nothing being said. The occasional developer would talk on the forums, basically saying that, oh, this thing won't be fixed, right? There was a problem with one of the achievements in Imperator. I think it was the Wonders achievement, where it was literally impossible to get it because of a fault in the code that would be fixed with a single line edit. Mods were able to change that line of code so that the achievement would be achievable, but then it was modded, so that kind of went against it. So we weren't even getting the fixes that denote in that original comment said may be coming. Nothing. Fast forward to it was a couple of weeks ago now. I didn't see this at the time, but it was a couple of weeks ago. Fast forward to then, and we have this thread by Danazgui. Alright, does anyone from Paradox have any insight? Will the game return to production? Lots of people, I would like to know this, I hope so, rather unlikely. And then we have here, Troy, PDX Pariah. Official word. Once a game goes into Legacy, it usually stays there until a third-party publisher either picks it up the rights, or there is a huge demand for the game that generates enough attention to get the devs back into the mix. These are unlikely edge cases, but not impossible. What does that even mean? What is a legacy product? When did Imperator Rome become a legacy product? Because this is the first message that we have had to that effect since the original notification that development would cease on Imperator. When did it go into Legacy? What even does Legacy mean? Is Legacy like Hearts of Iron 3, EU 3, Victoria 2? Is that what it means? Just complete, no more development. It is an old game, we're no longer supporting it. Because that's the way that I read that. And that's fine. Imperator, I would have said a year ago, is now a legacy product, if that is the definition of it, if that is what Paradox mean by calling it a legacy product. And if they had said at the time, if they'd have said a year ago, we're not working on this game anymore, there are no plans to work on this game anymore, fine. But that's not really what they did. It was sold to the people who still have faith or still enjoyed the game, still wanted to play the game, that development would continue when Paradox found developers for it. When, things were less busy, CK3 had just come out maybe 6 months ago, 8 months ago at the time. They were working on Victoria 3, it was sold to us that, development may continue at that point. It was stated in the original announcement that there may be some fixes, and that also just did not appear. And now we've got this official word that the game is in Legacy. And this is the first time. I'm not disappointed that Imperator is a Legacy game now. I'm really not. I would have said that this would be if I knew what the term Legacy game was, if I knew this was an internally used common phrase, then I would have said a year ago, yeah, Imperator is a Legacy game. I've been asked on almost every stream that I've done in the past year, do you think Paradox will return to Imperator Rome? And my answer has always been no. Like, there was like a little bit of hopium right at the start, that there was maybe like a 5 to 10% chance that they would return to it. But that swiftly was depleted, and my answer has been no. I don't think they would have. I don't think they will do, and I now think that Paradox also felt this way. My disappointment here is in this new announcement. I don't think this is good enough. I don't think a notification, a single comment in the middle of a forum thread is a good announcement. It just isn't. Right? This is not the way that you communicate to the fans who have, kept up the hopium that Paradox would return to Imperator. They've held on to that hopium for a whole fucking year. A single comment halfway down a forum thread started by a fan asking what the fuck the deal is simply not good enough. And at this point, I'm really struggling to see that initial announcement as anything other than deceitful. Because I am 100% sure that Paradox knew they were never, ever going to return to Imperator Rome. And it's just massively disappointing. I'm not disappointed that they're not returning to it. I'm disappointed in the communication, or the lack of communication, that has been shown here, because it just simply isn't good enough. Like I said, the original announcement stated that, the team would, or they would try and find new developers for the team. I mean, let's read exactly what it says, just so I'm not misrepresenting anything at all. You might notice that Imperator Rome isn't assigned to any of the studios mentioned above. The reason for this, on a regular basis, we analyze projects we have in development, where they're at, what they're trying to do, and what people and resources we have working on them. As part of this analysis, we realized that there was a need to bring reinforcement for a couple of the projects at Paradox, and given where Imperator was in the run-up to 2.0's launch, we decided that after the launch of the update, we would move people from Imperator to these other projects. Right now, we're working on plans to regrow the team for Imperator and continue development. I'm sorry, but I can't see this anything other than a bald-faced lie. This is a lie. This is not truthful. I really don't think this is truthful. And I'm trying to think of what the reasons are for that deceit, right? Just in case, I'm not sure if this is actually D-Note's words. Let me have a look. Oh, it is D-Note's words. Okay, fair enough. Oh, look, I'm the first one there. So yeah, these are D-Note's words. D-Note doesn't actually work at Paradox anymore, I don't think. I'm pretty sure he's moved on to another company, so it's not like I'm holding anything against D-Note here. But I do honestly think that this was... I just don't think it was truthful. I don't think that they were working on plans to regrow the team. I don't believe they ever had plans to regrow the team. And what they should have done is said, look, there's just not enough of you playing. Because there wasn't. All right, there wasn't. It was absolutely the right decision to cut support for Imperator. There wasn't enough people playing. There wasn't enough people buying the DLCs. That long-term support that Paradox has for its games doesn't really apply when a game flops as hard as Imperator did. And we'll probably end up seeing that same story happen again. I'm sure of it, right? They can't just have win after win after win, right? That's just not feasible. It's not the case. It's not going to happen. So we have this case where Imperator was not doing well for a variety of reasons that I can't be asked going into right now. And so they cut support. That's absolutely fine, right? It sucks for the people who enjoyed Imperator. Really does. But it was the right choice. But to then string along those few people who still believed in Imperator, it just rankles me. It really does rankle me quite hard. And that's kind of my position with this now. It really is. This should not have been the way that this information of Imperator being fully dead should have been communicated. Not in a single comment in the middle of some random person's thread. It just shouldn't have been. And now the Imperator Rome subreddit, the forum, there's a lot of things like, oh, what point was Imperator declared a legacy game? Who the fuck knows? I believe that it was immediately. It's just incredibly disappointing. And for me personally as well, I put a lot of my eggs in Imperator's basket. More fool me. I had grown very tired of EU4 at the time when Imperator started, coming out. And I did enjoy Imperator more than I enjoyed EU4. I still think the base mechanics of modern Imperator, a year ago Imperator, are superior to the basic mechanics of EU4. I think mana and development in EU4 is kind of a really bad system, and I really like the idea of pops and political influence. I really hope that when Johan or whoever ends up taking on EU5, when that eventually comes out, I really hope they have the political influence, they have some version of a pop system, and they have some version of a character system, even if it's just for, the royal family or whatever. I really hope that they take some of those elements from Imperator, because they are just objectively better than the elements that exist in EU4, their counterparts. And that's basically my main hope for Imperator right now, is that some lessons have been taken from it that will go into future games. Will I personally ever return to Imperator? Yes. Yeah, I will. I mean, I'm not going to say just a flat no. I haven't played Imperator in a long time, but there are still modders working on the game, incredibly. Invictus, I believe, has an update coming out today, tomorrow, something along those lines, maybe yesterday. They're still working on it. There's a team of people there who are passionate about this era and are making a mod for it. And then, for me, even more exciting is the Imperatrix Victoria mod, which is basically putting the era of 1836 to 1936, the Victorian era, into Imperator. That looks really exciting for me, specifically because I think it's probably going to be better than Victoria 3. It's no secret that I really dislike the warfare, in Victoria 3, so I'm very excited to have a look at Imperatrix when that is released, when that is in a playable state. I would love to play that. Is it going to be a mainstay for me? No, absolutely not. That's just channel suicide if I make it a mainstay again. But I will dip my toes in. I am just a little bit disappointed and sad that this is the way it went, right? Like I said, I made Imperator the mainstay of my channel, and Imperator died. So I truly believe that if I just stuck with EU4, then maybe my my subscriber count would be a little bit higher than it is today. But such is life. But anyway, yeah, I just wanted to bring you the news of Imperator's confirmed death, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Are you still playing Imperator? Let me know in the comments. I would be interested to know people's thoughts, right? If you are still playing Imperator, if you are modding Imperator specifically as well, what are your thoughts on this recent news? Like, how does this make you feel? Do you feel like you have been deceived for a year? Because I totally understand where you'd be coming from if you said yes to that. It is what it is. Thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.